reflected. And in his weaknesses, our own weaknesses are reflected. I'm saying this thing because somebody, as I was driving here, I was listening and reading something about something saying people must go home. And I was thinking, what is home to Damasane? Because I understand, and Damasane understood very early in life, that home is where humanity is. Home is about humanness. It is about the good of humanity and striving for the good of humanity. Damasane has defeated not. The tribe is a product of colonial powers. You would notice that it is so dominant in areas where the English conquered, because they use something called the principle of indirect rule. You've got to divide these people by psychologically enhancing the notion that one is different from the other. That's how the notion of tribe was born. It is probably the veil that covered and became a cover for ethnicity. So tribal is the greatest enemy that Africanism and Pan-Africanism has. And it is the greatest enemy that nationalism, as South Africans, will suffer as long as the tribe survives. That's how Samora used to put it. As long as the tribe survives, we will suffer. So you would see in the streets, it's no longer about whether you are from South Africa or not from South Africa. It's about the tribe. It's about who you are. You are not like us, and you are different, and therefore we have to persecute you. Something fundamental has been lost in our country. Something fundamental has been lost in our nations. Now, I recall a conversation I was with Damasane. Sidibana nomfana uqave kakhulu sisethi na uDamasane in the course of the debate uDamasane kuyaselwa noselwa ke phofu. uDamasane is convincing this guy very accurately, and this guy then asked the question, but kutheni ungayi kowenu? So I was actually worried about to fight in responding to this question. And Damasane turned to this guy and said to this guy, just wait for 15 years or 20 years. You will also be wanting to leave your country. And as I stand up today, I look at South Africa. And as I stand up today, I think about the debt in this country, the level of oppression and inequality, the level of exclusion of our people, the level of corruption, the betrayal of the dream of liberation. I think about Damasane. Those words of Damasane ring very loud in my ears. That tell this boy, one day, he will want to leave his country too. And I'm saying that that's the crisis we have. Foreigners can leave tomorrow. Inequality will be with us. Foreigners will leave tomorrow. Drugs will be with us. Foreigners will leave tomorrow. Our police will remain corrupt. Foreigners will leave tomorrow. Our politicians will still be concerned with one thing, being elected and re-elected. The challenge is deeper. The problem is the failure of the state. The state doesn't manage immigration. It doesn't manage our borders. It doesn't manage law enforcement. It doesn't manage education. What are you expecting? So when people feel the brunt, they become vulnerable to politicians whose sole purpose is to be elected and but they lead marches and tell our people that actually the problem is not us, it is foreigners. As South Africans, we need, again, in the name of Damza, to understand that home is not that house where you were born. We cannot judge people by their origin. We cannot determine the legal status of people by their origin. And I think that if there's anything that all of us who have gathered here today should do to ourselves and to this country, is to actually take our country back to national consciousness that appreciates that South Africa is nothing without Africa. And Africa is nothing without South Africa. And without South Africa. And probably that's the, sorry for being political.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Sorry for, I just can't escape it. To tell our people as we live here that we are a nation embedded in Africa. And without Africa, our growth as a country economically, our fortune is intertwined with the growth of Africa. I want to end again by saying, and I'm emphasizing this thing because it's becoming so common. I used to fight with Damza calling Ms. Kali. Because I used to say to Damza, every time he calls Ms. Kali, it's Kali. And by the way, it started because we're dealing with the amalgamation. When people want to make you softer and they say it's Kali. So we used to fight with Damza over this thing. I said, stop calling Ms. Kali. And he would say, Mcebisi. Because I think that we are educated enough as South Africans. But psychologically, we are so enslaved to still maintain this notion of tribe. Liberation movements still sustain this thing of tribes. I'm Zulu, I'm Xhosa, and we sustain this thing as if it is real. It is in our heads. We're creating it because it makes us feel big. Identity politics, we must banish them in our country. Ethno-nationalism is something that as a country